You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, it's a beautiful Veterans Day today, isn't it? I have Sandy Mason here at the American Legion, which is an appropriate guest for a day like this. And for all the veterans that are listening or will be listening, or families of them, thank you. I mean, I'm a son of a veteran, and boy, has my life and my sister's life benefited from that, because my dad served in the Army in the early 60s. He finished as a captain in the reserves, and it gave him a way out of maybe a dead-end situation in southwestern Oklahoma. Not much going on then or now. And it gave him some not just discipline, but also some opportunity for education, which he took well advantage of and did well with it. And my whole family since has benefited from that. So I always have a tremendous amount of regard for the military, because it's not just that they protect our shores, but they really do change lives. And it changed not just the people who serve, but all the extended family members around them. So you want to talk about that? We're going to talk about, I'd like to talk about your service a little bit. Talk about what the American Legion is doing these days. I know you sent us some pictures.
Yes, sir.
And have they already had the event over at the Veterans Day event over the park?
Yes, that was Saturday.
Okay, I thought it was, but I drove by it today, by the Veterans Monument over at the B&G Plaza, and there were several veterans there.
Yep.
Just kind of, they looked like, I lost sound here, Taylor. Am I still going? Anyway, sorry about that. Live podcasting, it's a lot of fun, but can you
hear anything?
No, I don't hear myself at all.
All right, we'll keep going.
Anyway,
I'll fix it.
But anyway, they had several of them, and they weren't like having like some sort of ceremony. They were just kind of individually standing there, kind of, in thought, prayer, whatever.
Right.
So, but it's kind of sobering to see that.
Yeah, today's a sobering day for a lot of people, because if they're veterans, it's a day for them to remember service. It's different from Memorial Day, being, that's dedicated toward the veteran and the service they did. When Memorial Day is to just memorialize all the services in general and sacrifice that was made. Our veterans here in Burleson with that Veterans Park, it's pretty nice, and the people who take the time to walk through and look for the bricks and the different things, and the kiosk down there is really interesting if you can get in there and look for somebody in particular. And for veterans who are interested in a brick, if they go by the city library, you can get a form there, and they'll do a little interview with you and set up a time to get your information, and it's well worth it to participate in that.
Well, I'll run through the sponsors, because I know they're certainly supportive. I told a couple of them about the show today, and they said they wanted to pass their regards, not just to you, but to all veterans. So that's the kind of people we have in this community, such as Otto at Our Place and at Gina's. I was at Our Place last Thursday, and we were having my bi-weekly breakfast with my Sunday school class, and never saw such relieved men, 2 days after the election. And so, it was a very jovial atmosphere, I guess, but that's fine. I was the only one at the table. Really, I did not think Trump would win, frankly, because of various things. And boy, was I wrong. That was the whole context of the show I did later that morning. I missed that one. Not for the first time, I'm sure. But Our Place restaurant is always a great place, because it has great service, it's a great place to meet people. I'm meeting another veteran, in fact, Jack Matson. I don't know if he does the Toys for Tots. We're meeting there tomorrow afternoon, not just about that, but also some other meetings, and talk about his business and whatnot. But Our Place is a great place to do that, because, it's not too loud and nobody bugs you, and it's a good place. Same thing with Gina's. No, on the Gina's Pizza contest, I left the list at home, so we'll draw the winners on Thursday. I have Jennifer Woods on Thursday morning, and I'll bring it. But I was driving here and said I forgot that cotton picking list on the table, so we still have the contest for a $50 gift card from Gina's. And apparently what's happening Sunday nights in particular, Gina's is becoming the place to go, because they have live music there and whatnot. And Wednesday they do karaoke, and it's all good and fun. Also, another supportive community group, Wild Cigar and Culture. They've been showing the Cowboy games. I hope that hasn't been killing their business because did they look bad yesterday or what? You know?
I don't watch any of the pro sports like that. So
Yeah, right. It's like, wow. Anyway, that's why, I used to be a really big fan, but as I got older, it's kind of like, I got things to do, But anyway, Wild Cigar and Culture, they have, besides that, I know they have a full slate on Saturday, with the Saturday college games, which I am much more involved in and more interested in. They have great deals, great sponsorships with some of the cigar companies. They're kind of a local stop on the cigar circuit. A lot of the companies that are going to be showing off a new type of cigar, or they're trying to promote a certain brand or whatever, they make Wild Cigar one of their routine stops because they get a lot of business from not just Burleson, from the whole area. And they're pretty excited after the election that it's going to allow liquor stores in this town, because now they can buy on a wholesale basis. And, that's going to help not just those who like a drink or something with their meal, but it'll help overall with our restaurants. So it's a good thing. And thank you, Chris and Nathan. Also, thank you, Gala, Southern Gem Jewels. It's Christmas time, and it's a lot of people don't want to wait too late, because they have a lot of people. Robin, my wife, works there, and she'll say they have people coming in, and they're just, I need something in a hurry, and that's, why do they do that? If you're going to buy something like a piece of jewelry for your loved one, you don't want to go. You want to go earlier than that. So go buy it. Start tomorrow. They're going to be open on Saturdays until Christmas, and then after Thanksgiving they'll be open up Mondays too, and a little later in the day. So they're going to have extended hours. So Southern Gem, talk to Gayla Moore's your local lady jeweler. Also, got our friends over at Old Pro Roofing. That big rainstorm that supposedly was supposed to happen never did, but at least not around here. But it did in other places, and they do a lot of business all over DFW. It's not just Burleson or Crowley or whatnot. They go as far as Louisville and Flower Mound, and you name it, they'll go. Old Pro Roofing is a very reputable company too. They'll tell you what's the true situation with the roof. They're not going to try to upsell you or give you some doomsday scenario. If your roof is fine, they'll tell you. So call John Williams over at 817-734-2756. And so it's a good thing about once a year have your roof inspected, because now these insurance companies are almost demanding it. And they are finding ways not to pay in some cases because of previous damage. So if you need really to have it inspected at least once a year, so it didn't creep up on you, and then you have to deal with the insurance companies. John tells me some are better than others. I know the one I have, Texas Farm Bureau, does pretty well for them and for me. So there you are. Also, John Kelly, he's over to the Wethington Agency. He knows about the real estate. I know the Fed dropped a point or something like quarter point on their rates. Who knows what they'll do? Sometimes it takes a little time to wash through the system to get to the real estate markets, but at least it's a start. But call Jeff at 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. Like I said, he's with the Wethington Agency here in town, so you can know how to get a hold of him. And there are real estate deals out there. He puts them on Facebook. I share them with y'all. So give him a holler. And our friend Tiffany over at Local Life, Tiffany Griffin. The magazine's out, and Otto and Gina's is on the cover. And they are probably one of the best marketing tools we have in this area. It goes to 30,000 homes and businesses, and sometimes you go in and you're getting your oil changed, or you're waiting for a table or something like that, and you'll see extra copies of it. So it gets a lot of looks, more than just the mail out versions, but all the versions. So also she has on localliftx.com the website, so you can check it out there as well. As far as the nonprofits, we do have a couple announcements. I've got to circle back one for Gala at Southern Gem, December 5th from 5 to 8. They're going to have a Christmas party, and they're going to have, light hors d'oeuvres, drinks, a jazz trio, things like that from 5 to 8 on December 5th. And also on December 5th, we have our Toys for Tots. Do we still have that banner there? Yeah, there it is. Of course. Right. Toys for Tots over at Burleson Stadium. and it's going to be from 5 to 8 also. But so you can make both. You can go by, drop off a toy, then go to galas or vice versa. They're going to have the high school athletic teams help and load up the cars, from the cars to the trucks. They're going to have the Marines there. They're going to have the performing groups from the 2 high schools, the choir and the bands playing and performing at Elk Stadium. So it's going to be a really big festive thing. And they're bringing in Santa on a fire truck. That's always fun. So, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the American Legion. Did they do anything special on this day? Did they have like some sort of commemoration?
Here locally, we're not. Saturday, several of the members were over at the city's Veterans Celebration. There are several veteran service organizations like American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, DAV, that are over in Arlington today. They're having their big parade this afternoon in Arlington, so there's going to be a lot of organizations sponsored over there and showing up. So, but here locally, we our next event's actually coming up in a week. We'll be over at Tractor Supply at the South Store. They're having their farmers market day, and we're going to be out there doing a meet and greet with people.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, y'all meet at a church here in town. Is it the Baptist?
Boulevard Baptist Church.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me. We meet on the second Thursday of each month at 6 o'clock over there in the office area. The church there has been phenomenal. When we started over there, and now they've changed ministers, and it's I don't want to say it's been a step up, but it's been very rewarding to us as a organization to have a church and a sponsor that's just really enjoyable to work with. And Bob Parker over there is he's one of a kind. He appreciates the military, but he's a good man of faith, and he's always want to know what he can do to help us as well.
And y'all do a lot of stuff for the veterans. I know you have outreach programs, because not every veteran reaches out to y'all, right? How do y'all get to those veterans that may or may not be contacted? Some we don't want to say it this way, but that's what happens. Some fall through the cracks.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of stories, particularly in the last 2-3 years, about veterans in serious need of help and not knowing where to get it. And we say, well, don't they know about the VA? Don't they know about American Legion or VFW, et cetera, et cetera? Maybe not. You really would be surprised just sometimes how people don't know where to turn. I get this a lot when I talk to Jennifer over at Harvest House, formerly Harvest House, and we'll be talking about that on Thursday, or Debbie Beeman at Promises, or all these other places that you say we're right here, and they still don't know where to turn to. How do y'all reach out to these guys?
The American Legion is doing more online through social media, so that we're seeing some response from that, Facebook ads and Instagram and things, which not all your veterans, especially older veterans, are going to respond to that.
Right.
Locally, we try to, promote this social media, but also word of mouth through our members, through church organizations, through other groups they're with. We try to reach out to the city, of course, let them know if there's anybody they can refer over. Try to talk to the neighbors, everybody around. But without having a local newspaper, that really limits a lot of the reach out we can do. I remember years and years ago when there was a Burleson cable channel.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was in 82, 83.
That was before my time then.
Yeah, but we had a local cable news that made announcements, and of course the Burleson Star. I've tried reaching out to a couple of the other newspapers, and you don't get a lot of response because we don't have a dedicated page that would say in Burleson now, or in Joshua now, or in Alvarado now. And I think if Cleburne or Fort Worth ever did something like that, we could get more response for local things.
That's interesting, because my dad's hometown newspapers are once a week. It's a very small town. And when I go up there and visit my cousins up there, I look at the local paper because I want to see what's going on. And it's full of the usual stuff, 4A pictures and like sports and, and somebody's birthday. But they had like a column, at least like near the editorials, nothing but veteran news.
Right.
it had contact information, all that, but they also had local veteran news, such as, if a veteran passed away or if a veteran did something that's even a little bit noteworthy, they'd put it in there, and they had it. So they had that dedicated spot for all the veteran news.
I just read the Hamilton, little town of Hamilton has a newspaper, and I was just there last week and picked up another copy. I get through there 5-6 times a year at least. And it's always unique to see that local flair, that information. And, of course, it could be anything from the obituaries to the local cattlemen who have this or garage sales. But there's always a focus in that paper on the veterans and what they're doing and what the schools have going on in their sports teams. And so that's always nice to see. And I wish we had that here, but... It is what it is.
Let you in on a secret there, Sandy. I'm trying to recreate that kind of situation. I'm in preliminary talks, let's put it that way. I don't know if it's going to be a published thing like, a physical newspaper, but I'm talking with a couple of people right now to try to recreate a local news source. I mean, when we were talking about the bond issues, the mayor said this was the only outlet, and I'm proud to do it, right? But as much as I like to flatter myself, my reach is somewhat limited.
Right.
And so, we need more broader coverage of what's going on in this community. So I've been talking to a couple of people, and it's going to take a little while and to kind of work out all the details. And it's going to take some financing and things of that nature. But, we've taken the first step out of many to try to recreate that because we need it.
Well, I hope it works.
Me too.
I hope it does.
Yeah, but now, what's y'all's relationship with the Veterans Administration? Because let's say I have a family member or a friend that needs the VA. Can you help that person with the Veterans Administration?
There's a couple of avenues that the American Legion can do when it comes to the VA. When a person makes an initial claim to the Veterans Administration, they can use a VA service officer. They can use a Texas Veterans Commission service officer, American Legion service officer, or the DAV. You'll select one of those. With the American Legion, we have a service officer. I do what I can locally and work with the veterans. I've got 2 great resources, one in Waco and another who's a past national service officer for the American Legion. So finding out where we can do, what forms we can find, what avenues we can approach, what they may or may not qualify. The more in depth it gets, the more resources we'll try to contact and bring in. But for the veteran who's looking for, I need eyeglasses, I need hearing aids, I need help with medications and stuff, we can point them in the right direction, make initial contact with them. And, there's been a couple of people that, I don't have a ride up to the VA. Hey, if you're available on a Friday, let's go.
Now there's one in Fort Worth, right?
Yes, sir.
I forgot exactly where the location is, though.
If you exit off campus at I-20, Interstate 20, and stay on the service road as you're coming back towards 35, it's right on your right-hand side.
Is it? So it's near that Tarrant County College?
It's actually, instead of going up campus, you'll turn and come down the service road.
I see.
And it's right there as it faces the service road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very
It's
close.
between campus and Oak Grove Road, if you will, on the service road on the north side.
Of course, you have the big outfit down in Waco.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And Dallas. And,
but the VA, I know that a few years ago there was a lot of issues with the VA, and not to get too political about it, but I do believe in Trump's first term they did do a lot to address those issues. And as far as Mr. Biden, well, this isn't a show about politics, so I just couldn't go on. But and that's kind of how I feel about it. But I honestly, my brief answer is I don't think they paid the attention to the veterans that they deserve. And serving in the military, it leaves can leave you in need of both mental and physical rehabilitation.
Right.
Particularly in the combat situations. And sometimes I wonder how well we address those issues.
There's different. I don't want to say different levels of care, but when you have veterans who are suffering from post-traumatic stress, their issues, or some of them are just, it gets gut-wrenching when you're dealing with a 25, 30-year-old man, even a woman, who really, when you look at them, they look past you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in a home of a local veteran, and he was a Marine, still a Marine. They're always a Marine.
Right.
But,
Well, Jack Matson will tell you.
They're always a Marine.
They're always a Marine.
But 3 young children in the house, and we're talking and trying to work on some stuff for him. And he stands up and he walks outside. And the 3 kids that have been in the house, everything, they got up and they all went to the couch. You hear a pin drop in the house now. It's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
He was outside 5 or 6 minutes. He comes back in. I'm sorry, I just need a moment to myself. That's fine, anything I can do. He said, no, it's kind of why I need some help. And okay, those kids didn't get off that couch until he called them, because they knew when Dad gets to that point, Dad needs his time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that families are affected because of his service.
Yes. We've had.
He's gotten a lot of help and a lot better now.
A lot better.
It's still, it happens in our older veterans, as they get into limited mobility, they get into other issues where maybe, the hearing's getting to be a problem, the eyesight, but then walkers or mobility devices, getting help with things, it can be taxing on their families, and if without outside resources, a lot of them don't know how they're going to get the assistance they need.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to, we can't provide everything, obviously, but having some points of contact to say, try this person, contact this organization, that helps people when they're looking for a walker, when they're looking for who to contact about elder care, hospice, things like that. So it's the more you get involved in it, the more rewarding it is, but the more you got to have a little strong constitution to deal with some of the issues that go on.
We've had some stories in the last year around the Burleson area of veterans in need of various things. And, and it doesn't necessarily mean they have to be destitute or anything like that, but, a lot of this type of care now, particularly for the older veterans, is very, very financially debilitating. It's expensive. And so any kind of help would be helpful. Medicare only goes so far and whatnot. And trying to navigate through the VA, sometimes it takes a little time, Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen overnight, but we do have, it's gotten better. It's kind of stagnated in the last, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years.
How about that?
Yeah, I know, but
no politics.
I know it's not, but a lot of the things we see with veterans care at the local level, every time I go into Fort Worth, there's more people at the front office getting registered, getting help from the registrars and from the information desk. And it's great that you see that, but then when you go on into, like if you're waiting for lab or you're waiting in a waiting area to see one of the primary care physicians, the conversations that you hear about, well, Dallas didn't do this for me, or this is my 3rd time over here to see somebody. I know they get frustrated, and I know that the system is doing what it can, but it really makes you kind of wonder at times, who are they looking out for?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the veterans, they need to care first. And I don't know that, when we say, call in for an appointment, and you talk to somebody and you call in again and you get somebody different, and let me go back and look at what was said. It would be nice if we had more local resources that could help monitor that and keep these guys in contact. But maybe eventually Burleson will get an outreach, area for veterans, and that would be cool.
Do you have to demonstrate financial need, and be a veteran, of course, but have to demonstrate financial need to use the VA?
To use the VA, No, you need to be, a veteran and have your DD 214, show proof of service. If you go in as somebody who's just been out a few years, or somebody who was out, turning 65 or something, and you're looking for additional help, once you get into the system, you'll be screened, you'll be looked at. They'll, give you a physical, look at, what your physical and mental health needs are. The PAC Act is making a big difference in a lot of lives, so that veterans from Southeast Asia that can, from Vietnam and the Middle East now can get additional resources and additional help. That's all, doing well. But if you're rated, let's say 10 or 20% for hearing and eyesight, and you need to have a prescription, you'll pay a percentage of that prescription. And it's comparable a lot of times if you had to go to Walmart and buy a 30 or 60-day prescription, somebody who gets to be at 50, 60% disability rated, then they no longer pay for prescription medications, so it's not so much, you do get screened if you are still working, your income and things, and there's a level that they say, okay, you may not qualify for this now, but later in life, if you're in the VA system and you have life changes, that's changed, and that helps out later on.
My dad's a veteran, like I just mentioned, and I saw him last week. He's 86, and he's got dementia, which, I don't think anybody's going to be able to handle that or cure that or whatever. But he also needs hearing aids. But, we're not destitute at all. I mean, he's not like a really wealthy man, but, we have resources.
Right.
But he still would qualify for services, even if he's not declared to be, below a certain financial line. And I've talked to him about it. I said, you might as well look at that. But
eyeglasses and hearing aids, easy and very, very easy to get into and get provided. Eyeglasses, of course, are going to be free for them. If you buy designer frames or something, you're going to pay for those frames.
Yeah.
But the free pair of eyeglasses and eye exam, that's for the veterans there.
You know what? I asked him this a few years ago. Why did you not use the VA more? And he says, because I could afford it, and I didn't want to take up that space for another guy. Basically, he felt like he'd be taking up space, and somebody else that needed it more may get it later or not at all. And so he felt like that's for people, that served and need help.
In a worse shape than I am.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot from people. It took me 20 years to get into the VA from the time I got off active duty till I got involved in it. But now that I see, it's, my dad would have told me, I don't want to go see that charity group. Dad, it's not a charity group, It's and we tried, later in his life to get him in and get things done, and his specialty care wouldn't have been, needed. He needed to go through what he was doing, but there are a lot of veterans who can get basic care and get some things done at the local level that, unfortunately, hey, that's for the other guy. It's you served your due. Use your benefit. Well,
that's a common attitude, like you mentioned. But not just Dad, but people other men his age were like, they sacrifice to serve, and that same kind of self-sacrifice attitude still exists with them. They're sacrificing themselves for their buddies that may need it more. That kind of thing.
Always giving to others.
Well, we can finish this part up. How would somebody that knows somebody that's listening or will hear this later, most people hear it later, would say that I know somebody that needs to get in the VA, but they don't know how to do all that.
Right.
How can y'all help? Where do they contact you?
Okay,
phone numbers,
at the local, at the local level, the easiest way to get, of course, with us, because we meet at the church, is through our email or Facebook page, ALPost, POST235 at yahoo.com, or you call me. My number is 817-357-2158. And if I don't answer, voicemail will tell you if you're calling for American Legion or Parks and Wildlife, leave a message.
Right. I was going to go to the Parks and Wildlife, and because you sent us some pictures. And
Yeah, but most of them are Veterans Day stuff for today. But
okay. All right. Well, let's look at some of those then. 'Cause
Sure.
I glanced at them this morning, and I know you also do stuff at the Parks and Wildlife.
yeah.
And here we are with.
This is Sean. She's the manager at Tractor Supply at the new store down in South Burleson. And Sean has been a big supporter of the veterans here in the area. She's been in the store for a couple of years now as the store manager, and I really enjoy talking with her. She's always got, hey, this is coming up, or can we help you with that attitude? And so we were able to give her a certificate of appreciation here from the local level, and just thanking her for what she does for our local veterans.
Now, this is the Tractor Supply. They do a lot of stuff for the veterans, I know.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it should be 15% off any of your purchases for veterans today. So,
yeah. Oh, really good.
Yeah.
Special deal. Okay. When Taylor's just going to roll them.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go to the next one. There you go.
Okay, this is our Blue Thunder air rifle team at Burleson High School. The junior ROTC air rifle team here is doing well this year.
That's interesting picture. Is that young lady wearing a headgear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we have a sporter team and a precision team shooter this year. They just competed in the Cowtown Invitational and won Cowtown. And our precision shooter scored a perfect 100 in one position and was overall took the top position in precision, and our team won the sporter event. They'll be shooting a postal the first week of December, and that's for the American Legion's Junior Shooting Sports Program. They've been state champion for that program 3 out of the last 4 years. So here they are on the practice range over here where the FFA barn is, and that's where they practice.
I've never shot an air rifle. Is it not as loud as a traditional rifle?
No, it's very mute, and in that range in there, it's insulated some, but the kids get an opportunity to practice, to get coached, and then they can work through, their abilities and improve, and it's so much fun to watch, and the concentration that comes out of it. They kid around, but when they get on that line, you can tell they're taking this serious.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And what do we got next here? Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, the city of Burleson, their parks folks reached out to us and asked if we could help put flags out at the cemetery. So past several years, American Legion, we go out the Friday before Memorial Day, and we put flags on all of our veterans' markers out there. This family reached out and said, hey, we have a World War I veteran out there, but he doesn't have a marker, and provided me his information. So we found his marker, and I was able to get that World War I service marker there, and we were able to attach that to his stone there and put the flag in there. But that's one of those things where, we're happy to help that. And that was great.
Yeah. I like driving by the grave sites, and you see the flags there and all this. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice looking outfit.
Yeah. You know that guy? Walter Blankenship.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is that Walter?
Yeah.
Yes. Because that might a little glare on the screen. But yeah, is he still with the Burleson High School?
He is officially retired December 31st.
Right.
December 31st.
Okay. I knew he was coming soon.
Yeah.
I've seen Walter at church a couple of times in the last few months. He's a good man.
Oh, yeah. And this was at the dining out for the junior ROTC. We were up there in the dining hall, and Walter gave the speech for the night. He was an honored speaker, guest speaker, how you want to say it. But basically, he was saying his goodbyes after, he's been there 13 or something years now.
Right.
It's bittersweet too, because I when they started the program in 1980, I was in the original class here, and meeting several of the instructors through the years and working with them, I could tell you that guy cares. He's he's more than a teacher. He's a mentor, and in a lot of ways, he's been a steadfast part for a lot of youth that come through that program and through the school. So sad to see him go.
Yeah. My neighbor used to be the commandant over at Southwest High School. He retired from that about 7 or 8 years ago. And, he had a similar impact on his students.
Yeah.
I always really, really appreciated that JROTC program when I was a teacher, because these young men and women that joined that, many of them are looking to belong to something, and it really gave them purpose, made them better students. I saw kids that joined it at the beginning and thought, Walter's got his work cut out for him, or whoever his predecessor was.
Right.
But by the end of the process, it was a totally different person. And that's another reason I like the military, because they would come in and recruit, and I'd see former students of mine. I thought, my God, it's either military or jail.
Right.
And they come back and they're, put on some weight. They look in the eye, they shake a hand like a man or a young woman. And it's just like, wow. I mean, the transformation is significant, and they, come in there in their dress uniforms. They're looking pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And I just remember 3 or 4 years ago, that kid was in the back room dressed like an unmade bed with hair straggly everywhere and all that. And so that's why I'm such a big proponent of these kind of programs. Yeah. Is this dining out thing? I was invited to one time as a guest. And they had like this big bowl in the middle of the room.
The grog.
The grog, okay.
Yes.
All right. So they still do that?
Yes.
Okay. And, and if y'all don't know what we're talking about, they were dumping all sorts of different liquids in it. And drinks. It wasn't like they're putting lighter fluid in it. But
no, it's edible, but not pleasant.
No, yeah. They just, they dump in cups of this and junk of that. And it's like.
So if you defile the grog or commit a act against the etiquette, then you have to go face the grog and take a drink. And it wasn't poisonous or anything like that, or hazard, no liquor or nothing like that. It just is like they put Kool-Aid and they put Coke and they put orange juice and then pineapple juice, and somebody put in jalapeno juice in it. It's not rather pleasant, but like I say, it's edible. But this year they kind of made a mistake and let some sailors sit together. So one of the rules is that the commander and all students or all cadets should meet all guests. And unfortunately, they didn't get to meet all the sailors who were there, so we had one of their students remind them, and the deputy commander had to go drink from the grog. So everybody got a kick out of that. So
well, I remember one of my students did something. I think he did something stupid just so he could drink from the grog. And it burned, and it was tears in his eyes because all the acid from the. So like I said, somebody put jalapeno juice in there. So, all right. Yeah. What do I got next?
What's next here?
Okay.
Oh, this is I told Taylor about this picture earlier. So this is April 1986, and a group of us here. We had one of the officers that actually took the picture, but we were on a patrol boat, and the ships that were in the group is a Marine Amphibious Readiness Group. So a Marine detachment afloat in the Mediterranean. And, of course, we're armed. And the idea is to check for other boats, swimmers, things that might be in the area. And we took a moment to get a picture for the night. But
which one's you?
That's top left up there.
Top left.
Yeah, that was years ago. But we were supposed to get relieved at midnight. And right before we got relieved, aircraft started flying over, and Reagan went after Gaddafi. So that was
I remember that
interesting
very well.
night. Yeah.
I remember that.
Operation El Dorado Canyon.
I was going to fly to London the next month, and they were canceling flights all over the place. But I got on one, and it was on a 747 to London with about 7 other people. That's a great flight. I mean, you had the whole plane to yourself. It's like having a private plane. But anyway, I remember that night. Yeah. Okay, what else?
Let's see. Oh, there's a group of the fellows from the American Legion and a couple of other people that wanted to help out, but we were over putting flags out before Memorial Day at the cemetery, so got a snapshot of the guys that were over helping out.
And a couple of little kids there.
Oh, yeah.
Getting them started
You
soon.
know, we love it when the kids or the Boy Scouts or whoever come out.
Mm-hmm.
This is for Flag Day.
Mm-hmm.
This little incinerator here we use, and we retire American flags that are no longer serviceable. You know, there's a flag repository box over at Veterans Park, and there's also one in front of the sub courthouse off Elks Drive. So
I saw that when I went to vote.
Right. So people can take their American flags, Texas flags. We get other flags in there too, city flags, military flags, whatever. And they get put in there, and then we'll take them and sort through, and you know, take the American flags. They get retired with through a program. So the American Legion has been doing that program for 100 years, or actually a little more now, and it's a resolution that they passed and was approved, and Congress approved this. And we go through and we say, you know, these are no longer serviceable. They have served their life, you know, for our marking our country, and then we'll burn those, and then any ash or stuff that's left over we'll take care of. And then a lot of the brass grommets will actually come out and be caught in the bottom down there in a bowl. And some of the scout groups in the past have gotten those brass grommets for different little things they want to do, or they're tying rope knots or stuff into them. So it's always something.
But it's interesting, though, because, you know, flag etiquette is some people should take pretty seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and it's because it is a symbol, not just of our country, but a lot of people made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know,
serve under this flag. That picture before, didn't know, but Sam's has a E-Club warehouse, and the fellows in the other picture, they donated a bunch of merchandise to us. There you go. Ricky Ferguson here, he's a general manager at Sam's E-Club, and they made a big donation to us, and we were able to raise funds off of that. So we turned around and gave them what we call a Sponsors Award for helping out the American Legion. And they had everybody in the plant there, the one we did the presentation, so it was pretty nice to be able to be recognized like that. And then the flag in that other picture, this flag was, I took that out of the repository box at Veterans Park. That is a casket flag. 4 times now I've recovered casket flags out of that box, and I'm holding them. If we get into a position where we have a meeting, then they'll be displayed. If we, you know, have a building of our own, but I haven't been able to identify anything off of them that would say this family or something. You know,
why would somebody do that, though?
You know,
I mean, that's
they
a
come
priceless
out of
family
heirloom. And unfortunately, I think some families don't either understand what they are, or there's a disconnect between a distant relative. I know that I had somebody call me and ask me to come get a flag, and it was a service flag. It wasn't a casket flag, but it was a service flag. And the fellow told me, "This is my great uncle's, and we don't want to throw it away, but we didn't know the man."
Right.
So, okay. So I went and picked up his service flag, and, you know, I've got it in storage with some others, but that's I've gone online several times and told people, if you've got something like that, reach out to me. I'll come get it. I'll meet you.
I'd keep it even if I didn't know the relative. My uncle, late uncle, he died 40 years ago. He was a World War II veteran, you know, 17 missions over Germany, that kind of thing. Yeah, through the Brenner Pass, as they say. So he earned his money.
Right.
And when he died, you know, died at 58. But at his burial in Oklahoma, they had, you know, somebody from American Legion come out there and present my aunt, his widow, a flag. And now my cousin owns it. And it's in the will, so to speak. So it's going to be passed down. Another uncle who served, he didn't have to do combat. He was during the Korea conflict. He was an airplane mechanic, so he wasn't in the front lines, but he served his country. And when he'd passed, there it is. And when my dad passes, he's made pretty clear he wants some sort of military recognition for his service, and not to make him aggrandize him, but brag about him, but it's kind of like his last way of showing his love for the country.
Right.
He wanted that, and that military to be part of that. So they've already got my mom, and who takes care of things now, has got it all taken care of. Mm-hmm. And, that kind of thing. So, it is sobering to go to a funeral of somebody who served.
Yeah, several of our members here have had, we've done what we call a post-everlasting ceremony for them, and it's nice to remember them and do things. And Jim Bailey, who was on the city council here and throughout Burleson, he's been kind of a fixture, and his wife Betty, when we went and had his ceremony, and I got to go up to Betty and give her a resolution and everything. And every time I see her in town, she's still, hey, how are you and how you been? And it's always, fun to meet with her. But there's some reverence there and service and respect, and we want to honor them for that as well. And even if it, we may not see them again, but we still remember that those veterans did a lot to not only their service to country, but a lot in today what we think is continue to serve. So veterans continue to serve as part of us in the American Legion, and that's kind of our motto.
It's interesting because just this morning, I'm looking through my usual readings and looking at Washington Post, and there's a big article. Mm-hmm. It's either the Post or the Times, and they talk about how a lot of the veterans are going to the areas hit by that Hurricane Helene, particularly, and they're finding real purpose there. Mm-hmm. That's another way to serve for them. I can't remember which newspaper it was, but it was either Times or the Post, but they had a big article about the veterans that said, they're taking it upon themselves. It isn't like they've been assigned there. These guys said, hey, I got tools. I have know-how. I'm going to help out. And and I think American Legion and VFW and other groups are organizing this as well. So they continue to serve is a good way to put it. Yeah.
We had, here at a local, a few years ago, we had Granbury had an issue with a tornado and stuff. Mm-hmm. And their American Legion said, hey, we could use ABC. And then if people want to come down, meet at the post and stuff, and we can get you in contact with, people in the community to help out. And it's always, the veterans are there. They're going to try to do what they can to help out. We can't do everything, but we'll do what we can and what we're, able to deal with. So.
What do you have coming up? I know probably you have, the holidays and such. Yeah. You're going to hopefully enjoy those, but you have any events coming up in the next few months?
Well, right now, I'm waiting on an email from the Burleson Youth Association. We'll find out our sponsor team for the baseball, and we'd like to meet with the kids, and the team there, and go watch this game with them.
I played American Legion baseball as a kid.
Yeah,
but they still have that?
They do have American Legion baseball, but locally it's easier for us to sponsor a team, like some contractors or whatever do. So, get involved in that as a community group. We have the oratorical competition is engaged now, and if there's high school or homeschooled students, that's interested in participating in that, we offer a $500 scholarship locally for that, and nationally it's $15,000. If you win that thing, so
that'd go a long way.
Yes, sir. So the oratorical is an option there for people. Mm-hmm. We also have, of course, our Christmas dinner will be coming up December 12th for the Legion members and spouses.
Where's that going to be?
I think we're going back to Napoli's in Joshua. But
I've been there. Yeah. Actually, my Sunday school party had a party there. My class does a social once a month, and some of our members live closer to Joshua than. Right. And it's good, very good.
Well,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
I've known the owner there since he opened, so it's always fun to go down there.
Yeah, sure.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Beginning of the new year, we'll be looking for boys state and girls state candidates for that. So leadership school and boys state is is unique.
Well, it's been around a long time.
Yeah,
It was when I was in high school.
Yeah, and it's funny when I talked to Amanda at Ted Cruz's office here a couple of years ago when we were talking about if he's looking to screen candidates for service academies. Are you an Eagle Scout? You've been to Boy State, or what's your community service profile like? So that's one of the top 3 things they look for people who are interested in service, related thing. And also, if you're looking to apply at colleges, that's a big feather in the cap as well.
Bet you it is.
Yep.
Because the likelihood of you being a quality student is much higher going through those programs.
Right. So that's coming up between now and February, and then of course as we get into the spring, we'll be looking for a couple of things in the community. But yeah, it's always something going on.
You gonna be at the Christmas parade?
Well, no, my schedule right now, unfortunately.
Well, anyway, that's coming up pretty soon. I know they do it in early December, but as far as all these things you mentioned, they're on your webpage, right?
Yeah, if you go to Facebook, you can see us there, or I try to post, other things. We have the Burleson Veterans Group. We have a group on there, and they're on the Facebook page as well. And Burleson Now magazine.
Right.
I'm going to meet with them at 4:00 today, talk about the flag boxes and stuff, and we'll be doing some stuff there and try to get a little more information out to them as well about what we've got coming up. So,
well, you probably need to talk to Tiffany Griffin as well over at Local Life, because she will be glad to meet with you. And she does things like this. So, and all I could say is thanks, not just for what you did, but what you're doing, because as a family of veterans that I come from, both sides, I had my mom's side, she had family members that served. It was, I know what the sacrifice is, not just to the people that actually did the serving, but their families, and I can only imagine what it'd be like to have a spouse over in a combat area and you're back here, and fretting every day, that kind of thing. So
yeah, I got some interesting comments from my mother, and
yeah, I bet.
and a couple of letters, she was always concerned, what are you doing? Where have you been?
Well, I remember my uncle, another uncle, my mom's side, served in the Navy during Vietnam, but fortunately for him, he was in Mediterranean service. So, it is different. He had different duties, but, it's a great group you lead, great organization, and we'll find a time to get you back in maybe sometime in the early spring, because I always enjoy talking with you all and seeing what you got going on, and sounds like you're going to be pretty busy. Taylor, thanks for the pictures, and
Always.
all righty, and on Monday, good grief, this is Monday. On Thursday, Jennifer Woods is going to come in. She just left last week from Harvest House, so we're going to get like a valedictory speech, I guess, and what she's doing now and what the status of Harvest House is and things of that nature. Next week, I have another veteran, I believe. Oh, no. That's in 2 weeks. Greg Cooper's later. He's a veteran, about 8 tours of duty over in the Middle East, so that's always interesting. That's 2 weeks. No, next Monday, I have Wings of Hope, the equitherapy group. You know that equine theory?
Yeah.
You know them? Okay. Yeah, that's going to be fun to talk to. So anyway, I'll see you all Thursday, and y'all be sure to share this and tell the veterans in your life and their families, thanks for your service.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.